So now we go to the London, and in London, England, there resides an African princess. Our Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to this podium and recognize my cousin, our Royal Highness, Princess Moradeo Adedoyin Solari.
My brothers, my sisters, my mothers, my fathers, my aunties, my uncles, maybe my children, because my son is 38, so I don't know the ages of everybody, but I'd love to bring you warm greetings, not from England, warm African greetings from the palace of my grandfather, His Royal Majesty, Oba William Christopher Adedoyin II, the Akaribu of Remoland. I'd first of all like to acknowledge my first cousin and namesake. Our fathers named us both Moradeo. Moradeo means I have inherited a crown. It's a name that's usually given to daughters of African or Yoruba kings. What can I say? I see faces of amazing people. I've heard the voices of awesome people. And everybody here is my relative. By the time we trace where we're coming from, we're all connected, one way or the other. Many years ago, we do know that some of us got carted away. Some of us got left behind. But here we are today. The power of intellectual property, technology, most importantly, the wherewithal and the can-do attitude of Her Royal Highness, Princess Moradeo. We are in this room, full of energy, full of hope, full of goodness, full of everything beautiful, because that's what we all are. All God's children, fearfully and wonderfully made. You might be wondering why this Yoruba princess is speaking with a very British accent. I was born and raised in England, but my father ensured that they brought my nanny to England in the 50s, so I can speak Yoruba excellently well. I also worked and lived in both continents, and therefore I've learned to be able to recognize, to respect, and to understand the variety of cultures that God Himself created. So wherever I go, whoever I meet, I love to connect. I love to know what you do, who you are, and how we can bring about a better quality of life for this world that we're in. My father would say, life is not a dress rehearsal. You've got this one shot at it. Little girl, don't get it wrong. Look at the mark and ensure that you get the bullseye. I'm the chair and global spokesperson of Girl Child Network Worldwide. It's a charity that was set up by an amazing Zimbabwean lady in a very little village called Chitungwiza in Zimbabwe. Her name is Her Royal Highness Mujari Betty Makoni. About 20-something years ago, she set it up because of what she had gone through as a young girl who got raped when she was 6. Her mother died in domestic violence when she was 9. By the time she was 12, her little brother, the baby her mother had left behind, drowned because the stepmother, the proverbial wicked stepmother, had put a big pot on this little boy's head to go and fetch water in the stream. So of course he couldn't make it. So when Mujari Betty was growing up, she determined in her mind that this has to stop. And we have a mantra. She goes, never again. Never to any woman or girl again. And therefore she set up the charity. My background is broadcast journalism. I actually met Mama Anderson in 1977 when I was the youngest TV presenter. It's amazing that 40-something years on, I now meet her here in the United States of America. It just shows, how we are as human beings. We move like water, like the waves, and life can take us anywhere. My message, apart from the greetings I bring, is really to challenge the women. We have heard people speak about how wonderful we are, how great we are, how amazing and loving and brilliant. And we cannot take anything away from that. We are all that and some. But I always say, to know the true character of a boy child or a man, show me the women in his life. Who was his mother, his grandmother, his sisters, his aunties, his female relatives, his wife, his mistress, his side chick. Whether we like it or not, these things happen in all our lives. And therefore, I always say women need to understand the influence that we have, the power that we wield, and we should arise and wield it properly. Whatever we stand for, we must ensure that we stand for what is right, even though we stand alone. That is what sets us apart. That's what makes us outstanding. So anywhere I go, I love to challenge women. What kind of men are we molding as our sons? What are we unleashing onto the world? President Barack Obama, we understand his grandmother raised him. We can see what she raised. We can see what she molded. And we see other people and we wonder, who was his mother? So we have a big job as women. As much as we acknowledge ourselves, we applaud ourselves, we should also learn to challenge ourselves. In the United Kingdom, we call it an MOT. You do a regular MOT. In other words, are you roadworthy? You do a check on yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Is my son going to add to the value of his community, of the larger society, of the world at large? Women need to always know that the buck stops with them. And when we're talking about human rights, women's rights, as our wonderful lady said, way back in Africa, women always had rights. And it's not a cliche. I grew up knowing my grandmother, the Queen. And we do respect our men. I'm sure there are African men in the house. We revere them. We call them Lord with a little L. We serve them their food. We do the business in the bedroom. You know, we do what we're meant to do. But we run the things. As my Caribbean brothers and sisters would say, who run things, man? We run the things. We know we run things. You know why? Because if you don't run things well, then the buck stops with you. Then the shame is yours as a woman. The embarrassment is yours. Why is it that your son is carted off to jail? Why has your son failed? Why is he abusing his wife or his children or any other person he meets? Why has he turned out to be a thief? Sometimes there are some kids who would probably just go the extreme way, but 99.9% of the time, it's what the mother does. The love we input, the nurturing, the training, the advice, the friendship we have with our sons especially. I'm talking today about men because normally I'm talking about women and girls because those are the people I work with. But some years back I realized, what is it that we do as women that we should no longer do? What is it that we should do that we are not doing? And we need to strike a balance to ensure that we get it right. We can't miss it. We're not allowed to miss it. It will be a crime to miss it. Because whether we like it or not, majority of the people who are in leadership positions in the world are male. But when they get home or wherever they go to rest, they put their head on somebody's chest. They sit and live with somebody and talk to them. Somebody serves them their meal. Somebody chats with them and asks them how their day went. That somebody is a woman. So what role is that woman playing in the life of that man who is the president, who is the governor, who is the senator, who is a member of the House of Reps, who is a local councillor, who is a headmaster? who's a doctor in the hospital, there must be a role that we're playing in the lives of our boys and our men. Because when our boys and our men turn out right, our job is done. And we can just look up and say, thank you, God. I'd like us to go away with that, remembering that if we have sons that are still young, we have husbands or boyfriends, we have nephews, we have brothers, whatever male folk that we have in our lives, let's go out of this room tonight with a renewed transformation of our minds. That I'm going to do good better. I'm going to do good better. Because those who can, must. I thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful time tonight. And I'm sure our paths will cross again. God bless you all.
Princess Moradel Adedoyin Sholari. Give her a round of applause one more time, please. That's the power of the woman. That's what we're talking about. For you. And we know that the calligraphy demonstration is about to begin.